a Hindu, but I'm not religious. How many of us have heard that saying from someone else before? Now, saying you're a Hindu is not like wearing a badge or having a trophy on a big mantelpiece. It is so much more complex than that. It is who you are. It's your identity. Now, your identity changes throughout your life. It can start from the very first start of your life when you're young, you're so naive, to when you're a teenager or a young adult and you're so curious about life, to when you're in the working world. But depending on your environment and where you are and the people you meet, your identity and your pride may change. Now, let me tell you 3 reasons why they may change and 3 reasons why people may want to change. People may not feel pride in their Hindu identity. 1, because they can't articulate what it means to be a Hindu. 2, they just can't connect to it. Or 3, they just seem a sense of belonging somewhere else, which is fine. But let me tell you a little story about my identity and why I see so much pride in who I am. Now, there is a lot of things in this current climate that we face as young Hindus, and something that I want you to be aware about. So let's go down the road to when I was a 5-year-old, or many years ago, actually. So a small brown girl from North Wales, land full of sheep, of course, had to make that joke. And I was in a classroom in primary where my teacher's like, we're going to learn about Hinduism. I was like, yes, something I can, cheer along with and understand. And she was like, Mitali, can you teach your class? Okay. Luckily, she had already spoken to my mum, and my mum had packed me a big bag full of things. So I rummaged through it and see what I could find. And I find a cassette. Now, I know there's many of you guys in this room that probably don't know what a cassette is, many years ago. And it was one of my favorite Bollywood movies, Koi Mil Gaya. Put your hands up if you've seen Koi Mil Gaya. Yes, very good movie. If you haven't, go and watch it. So I twisted the cassette, put it into the cassette recorder, closed it, pressed play, and it started singing, Jadoo, Jadoo. Poor kids, a class full of Caucasians, listening about Jadoo in a talk about Hinduism. Blue alien, Hinduism. These kids probably went home talking to their mum saying, oh, I think Mitali worships blue aliens. But that is what you'd expect from a 5-year-old who was teaching a class about Hinduism, right? So then I carried on rummaging through my bag, and I find an arti. So I say, Miss, this is an arti. This is a what? An arti. An arti. A plate with a candle on it. So what do you do with it? Because how can a 5-year-old articulate what we do with an arti to the rest of the class and a teacher? It is actually so hard. Our dharma is so complex for a 5-year-old to actually articulate. But that's what I did. And then let's go through to high school. Now, high school, same thing. I was the only brown girl in my whole school again. And it was compulsory to learn about religious studies. And the two religions we taught about was Christianity and Judaism. So me being the eager beaver, Miss, I want to learn about Hinduism, and that is what I'm going to put down in my RE exam. So I pick up my book, right here, my RE book, and open to the page where it says about Hinduism. How many of us are here are parents? Ah, proud parents, yes, lovely. And how many of us know what our children are learning in these books? Yes, word for word, not on their Xbox upstairs. But let me read you what I read when I opened my book. So this is a GCSE AQA Religious Studies Specification A quote. This is what it specifically said. Holy books reach that it's necessary to be able to be morally justify a war in order to preserve the dharma. Then the text continues later on saying, there is nothing better than a righteous war. If the cause is just, Hindus will take arms. And then carrying on, later on it says, some Hindus have turned to terrorism to protect Hindu beliefs. I just want you to take a moment to what I have just said. Do you think that portrays what our dharma is all about or who we are as individuals? There's so much there about war, but nothing about ahimsa. Now, we can clearly see there's a gap in our education system there from primary school all the way up to high school. And we can clearly see where our students, our young Hindu students, may see a gap in identity because purely they cannot either feel connected to it or see a sense in pride after what they have read in these books. Now, let me go to the future. I want to paint you a picture 10 years down the line. Imagine our children and our grandchildren growing up, and instead of learning about Hinduism as a religion, they're learning about Sanatan Dharma. They are learning about Hit, Mit, and Prit, and they're learning about the importance of well-being and sustainability in order to flourish. I want you to imagine our children picking up textbooks and understanding concepts like Satya, Shila, and Sangatan, and practicing yoga on a daily basis. And then I want you to imagine straight into primary school when our teachers are teaching our young babies about their alphabets. Instead of saying, you know, H for hat or H for horse, they're saying, no, miss, H for Hindu, because that is who I am. That is the future I would like to create. We are on the cusp of change, and it all starts with proactivity. So parents, brothers and sisters, what are we going to do?